Welcome to In the Lap of the Pods Queen podcast. I'm David. With me, as ever, is Joe and Paul.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I've not got any witty kind of lines to describe who you are. I've just not put the effort in this week.
I've ran out of cool lines, mate.
What's that, mate?
Yeah.
In this podcast, we're going to talk about the album covers. A few people have suggested that we do this. We talk about the artwork. And we thought we would give it a go. I'm not really entirely sure how this podcast is going to turn out, because we're talking about static pieces of art. And we're not artists by any means, none of us. So to be able to decipher exactly what's going on in these absolute masterpieces of artwork is going to be exceptionally hard.
Especially hot space.
Aye, so we'll try our best anyway, and probably butchering all the kind of what am I trying to say, the concepts and all that that we'll be thinking it's meaning this and it's actually meaning something completely different. So if you're an artist and you know about these things, then just go on Twitter and tell us we're talking a load of shite, and that's fine because we know we probably will be. So
or just don't, because we won't be able to understand what the fuck you're talking about anyway, because we're all
very true.
Educated and governed. And
aye, exactly. It'll be too highbrow. You're right.
Absolutely.
That's very true. But we're going to talk about them in turn. We're going to just hit the 14 studio albums. We're not going to bother with it because if we start doing Live Killers, then do you have to do Live Magic? Do you have to do Live at Wembley? Do you have to... No. So, no, 14 studio albums is all we're going to do on this one, because there's plenty to talk about. There's 14 studio albums to get through as well. Sounds like I'm really enthusiastic about this. It sounds like I don't want to do this. And
Yeah.
there's something...
So.
There's something in the back of my head thinking that I don't really want to do this, I'll be honest, but I think when we start, I'll be alright. It's one of them ones. I think when we start talking about it, I'll be like, nah, I'm enjoying this. So
you won't, mate. You're a miserable cunt.
No, it ain't.
No, it ain't.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit sceptical about this one, but I think on paper it sounded like a good idea. So whoever suggested, I think it was a few people, thank you for suggesting it, because I think it's worth a shot, and we'll see if we can pull out anything. I don't have a lot of information on the album. I think Paul's maybe done a little bit of research. So most of anything I'm going to be saying about these covers comes from memory and anything I've heard in the past, to be honest, because I've not had too much time to look into these things. But hopefully between the three of us, we'll be able to figure something out about the artwork. So what I suggest we do in this one, just to make it slightly more interesting, is as we go along, I want the three of us to decide if the album cover in question makes the shortlist for the best Queen album cover. Alright, so as we go through the 14 in turn, we'll decide, is this one for the shortlist? And at the end, I think we all have an argument and agree on the best Queen album cover out the 14. There's none of this, this one and that one. It's got to be one, and we just agree on one. Alright?
Fair enough,
and it'll be probably pretty difficult. Probably more difficult than you think, I think.
There's some really good album covers here, man.
There are. So we'll try and do that. But and as usual, if you're listening to us and you're on Twitter, get us at LapPods and join the conversation, and and tell us your favourite album covers or the ones you hate. It's always good to, or maybe how the album covers could have been improved. Possibly, maybe you've got some suggestions about what they could have done to improve it. So that kind of thing. Let us know your thoughts, and yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll get straight to it. So we've got the first Queen album, 1973, Queen, of course. So we've got that very famous image. Well, certainly to Queen fans anyway. Very purple cover. You've got those spotlights shining on Freddie, and Freddie's got that kind of almost. It's like an animation. It's not a photograph.
Yeah.
Unless it's been a photograph, it's been painted over, possibly.
He's been touched up.
Yeah. Aye. Who doesn't like to be touched up? To be honest.
Exactly.
Most folk.
Depends who's touching up, and if it's
depends who's doing the touching up, and if it's consensual touching
consensual,
up.
Exactly. That's it. Yep. Yeah. So I suppose, Paul, if I come to you first, because you probably owned this album before myself and Joe. So what is your, when you see this, what do you think?
Well, first of all, It was. I doubt at the time Queen were playing venues as large as this.
Aye,
It would
totally.
require 2 spotlights.
Yep.
So it was very clever of them to give the impression that they're bigger than what they are. Because
100%.
that's certainly Freddie. That was his whole thing. Like,
Aye.
you need to project yourself as though you're already a star. You've already made it and all that kind of stuff. So that's certainly here. The purple colours. That's associated with royalty, obviously.
Yeah.
And the logo itself is obviously designed by Freddie.
Brilliant.
It's fucking amazing.
Probably the
It's-
best, isn't it? Do you
Definitely
agree?
easily the best Queen logo.
Aye, hands down.
It's striking. It's quite minimalist, obviously. Like actually quite a few Queen albums covers, But it certainly makes a statement. And Freddie's there with the rock god pose and all that. Yeah, superb. Love it.
Yeah, Joe, anything further to add?
Aye, I mean, exactly what Paul was saying there. I mean, you're looking at it now, and it is a band trying to project that they're bigger than they are, which is totally understandable. They want people to see this and go, well, look at this. The spotlight's set that far away that it looks as if it's in a stadium or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Rather than a small club. And obviously, Queen were playing clubs at this point. But for me, this is an iconic cover. This I really like this cover, man. And it's kind of weird as well because now that I actually look at it, it looks like Freddie's actually holding the half mic in this picture. Yet he wasn't using the half mic at this point. Am I right in saying that? He was using the half mic at this time. He was.
Yeah, he was.
I wasn't 100% sure if it was maybe the next tour they started using it.
No, he was right away. He was before they get signed. It was just an accident, so I think he went to lift the mic and it came apart, wasn't it? And then it broke off, and then he just thought, actually, this is actually pretty cool.
It's iconic, isn't it?
So
it's just weird how these.
Absolutely.
Come on, Joe. Have you not seen the film? Joe?
I might as well fact check when I go to the film, because everything's
in the
fucking,
film? Jesus,
bang on. Fucking piece of shit.
It was a Magic Tour they first came out with in the
of course,
film.
aye.
Yeah.
Aye, and he had long hair in the Magic Tour apparently and wore spandex. Fucking dicks. Anyway, fuck that film. But no, this is a fantastic cover, and I must say, quite arrogant of Freddie to have himself on the album cover and none of the rest of the members of the band. So I'm wondering.
It's kind of.
I'm wondering if maybe there was a version. Maybe not, but maybe this was cropped. Maybe there was a version where there was more members in. I don't know. Who knows? It would be interesting to think maybe that might have been something, but they thought it looked cooler about being just on Fred. But I mean,
it's probably the reason for the collage in the back. It's got all the band photos.
Aye, well,
and
this
all
is
that,
true. This is true.
Yeah.
And SOD totally ripped that off, man. Stormtroopers of Death for the
a lot on all the thrash bands went there doing all that. These
Queen were
collages,
the first to do it, but no. For me, this is an iconic cover. I love the colour of it. Love the Queen logo. Fucking fantastic. Stylised. It's quite a pointy crown as well. It's quite a heavy metal looking crown. You know what I mean? Great, brilliant. Love it.
Aye. No, I agree. I think it's an excellent album cover. Really love it, and all the points you guys have made are exactly what I would say about it. I think Andrew Neil said, was it 2 years ago in the Christmas episode when he saw us on screen, he thought well, like the Knights of St. Knee, with the 3 heads and the one body, because a lot of the time we're just in agreement and stuff, But I've got to agree, and the point you picked up, Joe, about Freddie being on his own, which is kind of interesting because you've got the egos in the band. Certainly Brian and Freddie had massive egos even at that very early stage. So for Brian himself to concede and go, yeah, it's fine, Freddie, you can be on the cover on your own, that's quite big. And it's interesting because I've just got the record here, and it says Queen's photographer Douglas Puddifoot, and the cover design by Douglas, Freddie and Brian. So it's by the photographer, Freddie and Brian. So it's interesting that Brian was involved in the design of the
probably Fred as well,
cover.
besides the logo, yeah.
Oh, Fred, no, it's Douglas, Fred,
and it's
Brian.
cool because it's like,
I
don't know a lot about art. I'd be a fucking liar if I said I did. But the way the spotlight draws your eye to a certain point, pictures are led to, as far as I'm led to believe,
I lead you towards.
Yeah, and I mean, it's totally obvious it's
leading
leading because
yeah.
of fucking Spotlight, but I mean, it's still, it works really well. And as opposed to the other side, you've got the Queen logo in the dark part, it's a good balance, I think.
Yeah. And an interesting thing about, Paul, you mentioned the back of the album. Obviously, it's got loads of photographs of the band. It's a collage of photographs. You've even got the Queen playing card in the corner as well, which is actually quite nice. But it's interesting because you've got Brian dressed up in that penguin suit that he wears in Going Slightly Mad video.
That's right. So
it's kind of but that's quite interesting that we're looking back towards that period. I suppose it makes sense given what the new Endo album was and all that, but we'll come to that. But yeah, no, I think it's a very striking. I agree with you guys. Very striking kind of first album cover. It's definitely when that comes. When you walk out in the record shop and that's there, it's going to stick out. Absolutely. What is this? But then again, we are biased because we love Queen, so there you go. So is this making the shot list for the
maybe
best Queen
I don't
album?
know yet, man. For me, I'd put it in the maybe pile.
Aye, it's a maybe for me.
Well, if you are both saying maybe, I'm going to say no, because I think
right.
compared to the ones we're going to discuss later, I
don't think it would make it in the end, right? Okay, I get you, right. No, when they make it in the end.
So you've got to think of that way. It's got to be a contender for really making it in the end, I think. And I don't think this would make the cut. But still, excellent album cover. So yeah, if we agree this one doesn't make the final cut, so excellent. All right, then we move on, and we've got Queen 2. Now, Queen 2, the iconic image of the band by Mick Rock, and obviously you can see photographs of this whole session, or certainly not the whole session, but the ones that have been certainly released, and there's lots of different kind of takes of this, and some of them, I think, is there one where Brian's actually moved and stuff, and Roger's at the top? I can't remember, but some of they're moved around kind of thing.
And there's one where Freddie's got his hands fanned out
at
the front.
Is Brian not wearing some sort of net over his face as well?
And a net, he's got like a
veil.
Maybe it's not a veil. I'm saying a net, a fishing net. He's about to rob a.
It's a fishnet thing.
Tight size. Just he's going to go straight for a photo shoot to go and rob a bank.
He's going to rob a Home Bargains.
Home Bargains. That's more like Raising Arizona style with a tight size.
I get nappies. But this is one of the most famous. Obviously, we're talking to people listening that absolutely know this. They don't need us to tell them. But yeah, one of the most famous Queen covers, and one of the most famous covers in rock music. And obviously brought to life in the Bohemian Rhapsody video, and I think this is just it's kind of the way I look at this album cover is when I look at it, you've got that first album cover, which is it's Paul's right, 100%. It's trying to make the band look as bigger than what they are. They're grandiose. They're already there. They're already superstars. It's kind of that look. And then this to me just moves everything forward because it's kind of like they've arrived. And it looks more professional. It just looks like they've got an image. They look like they're already stars. You're looking at this and you're like, this band look like they're, they've been doing this for a decade already. The music obviously, the music married with this album cover, it just all makes sense, But if you just take it in the image alone, it's absolutely stunning. The image, but if any of you guys want to jump in here.
Well, obviously Mick Rock, the iconic photographer, the stuff with Bowie and all that's amazing. Iggy Pop, just everybody who's anybody in music. But the light here is amazing. Listen to me.
But you're right. I think.
It's the eyelids, John, Freddie, and Roger's eyelids. Obviously, they've got some sort of eyeshadow on anyway. They've got makeup on, but the way the light captures that,
Brian doesn't have eyes because he's evil as fuck looking.
Brian's like a fucking hairy skull.
Totally, man.
At the
hairy
back.
skull. Yep.
It's just the eye sockets,
It's when you look at Brian in this as well, it looks like those kind of Grecian kind of statues, because it's curly hair and the eyes are and the eyes are usually kind of not there, kind of thing. And it's kind of
that's a good shout. Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
I mean, I think that's completely by accident, but it kind of looks
Yeah.
like that, but even Medusa kind of that vibe to it.
But it's,
Maybe
it is
somebody
all-
should Photoshop
That'd be
the
pretty
snakes
cool,
onto
man.
Brian's hair. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we'll
man.
do that when we release the episode. And just for a laugh and just
so this isn't just this is an actual work of art. It's not just a band photograph.
Absolutely,
They I don't know how long they spent on it, but even just getting the makeup right and all that, I'd imagine they spent some time just getting the light absolutely right until Mick Rock was happy with it and all that.
Yeah.
But it's fucking it's iconic. It's like one of the greatest images and.
It's
Music,
definitely the greatest
you know,
band picture ever
absolutely.
taken, in my opinion. The most iconic band photograph. I don't think anything rivals that.
I don't think anyone could.
that
all
one
would
of the
have got it.
Scorpions, mate.
Yeah, I and they're
They're all
all
getting their
like,
tops off.
leering about each other's crotches and shit. Man,
that's the
that
most
shit's just not
Aye,
right, man.
aye.
It's all wrong. It's a bad
The
look.
platforms on and all that. No, you're right, Joe. Man, this is Easily.
And of course, obviously, most Queen fans know the story about the influence certainly on Fred, Freddie's part in this picture. Marlena, Dietrich, her famous image, which is basically pretty much the same pose as Freddie. And Freddie obviously loved that photo and wanted to recreate it. But Mick Rock, absolutely is a star of this. It's just absolutely, because I mean anyone else could have taken this photo and it wouldn't have come out as good, I don't think, and I think obviously just Mick Rock's kind of I always liked Mick Rock when he was getting interviewed and stuff. He just seemed like a humble guy that just
dead modest,
modest,
because he gives Freddie all the credit. He's
Absolutely,
like, he showed me the thing he wanted, and I was like, okay then. But that's one thing somebody give me that,
Pull it off, aye.
You've got to have the chops to be able to pull it off, and obviously this is that. He should take the most of the credit here because he's the guy pulling the shutter.
The one thing I would say is the original release, because I've got the original record from '74. And the cover is quite saturated. The image is actually quite saturated.
You're right. Yeah, the black
that well.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah,
you know the one.
Yeah,
absolutely. So when they did do
sit out,
do the re-release of it, they did tidy that up and fix it so that it actually sat in the background better and as a better image for it. It's I think it's probably the limitations and probably printing back then and things like that. It probably didn't quite turn out. I would imagine when they got it, they went, even Mick Rock himself was probably that's not the way it was meant to look. But I mean, I'm pulling this out of nowhere. I mean, you might have been completely happy with it, but when you see the reissue, you're like, I get why they did this, because
and the original print, you see the original photographic prints are just so
that's it,
fucking razor sharp and pristine.
That's it. So it's probably been EMI that's kind of fucked up the the levels and all that, caused that kind of saturation look. But,
every mistake imaginable.
Aye, bad news references, man. It's like I always thought when I see the, obviously it's not the same thing, but see the Appetite for Destruction reissue where it's the heads on the cross.
Oh right, yeah.
I always thought that, and Axel being such a big Queen fan and stuff like that, I always thought that was kind of lifted.
It's got a photo collage inside it as well,
because it's almost like
like the first album.
Aye, because it's like disembodied heads. You know what I mean? And this is it's just kind of obviously the Guns N' Roses one's it's a cartoon drawing, but I don't know, maybe a wee nod to Queen there.
No, that's a decent shout. Aye, absolutely could be. Because obviously they're in that kind of cross formation anyway.
Absolutely,
man. Yeah. But, what an album cover, and I'm going to guess that this is making the shortlist.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think that's going to be quite easy. The shortlist is certainly going to be easy. I mean, the final decision might not necessarily be, but we'll see. Anyway, we move on. Staying in 1974, it's the Sheer Heart Attack album cover. Now, before I'm going to throw over to you guys first, but I think the first thing you notice right away is
a lot of sweating.
The font. Well, it's actually the font.
It's very blocky.
Aye, blocky. Yeah. Obviously, that you've had that kind of regal kind of font before. With the Crown, the first two albums. Now you've got this kind of just very basic blocky.
Aye.
Kind of font basically. And so that for me, just looking at these album covers in turn, that's the first thing that strikes me anyway, certainly. But Joe, do you want to delve in with this one?
Again, you don't notice these things really until you start looking at things in order, one after the other. But yeah, the massive change in the font. Wonder what that was all about, because there's this kind of Regal vibe, like you were saying in the first two records. It's almost like they were complete that. Maybe they thought this record was a more direct album. Maybe.
Possibly,
I don't know.
aye.
So they maybe went for a more direct, blocky look. But I mean, the image I think's fucking excellent, man. I love this. In fact, I tried to get a t-shirt, a really good t-shirt with this on it.
Yeah,
I really love this album cover. I like the fact they're all kind of sweating and just lying all over the top of each other. It's just a very, and Freddie looks the least interested out of the four of them in the picture. Like, he's just guys. I mean, iconic again, man. It's very 70s. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's 70s was all pretty much most album covers were the guys in the band on the cover. But I think Queen tried something a little bit different here, man, and it works for me, man. And I love the name of the album as well, Sheer Heart Attack. It's an aggressive. I mean, think about that when it came out, an album called Sheer Heart Attack, coming after the kind of regalness of Queen 1 and Queen 2. Their first actual named record is called Sheer Heart Attack. That was pretty ballsy and a bit of a mission statement, because there's a lot of ferocious shit on this record, the invention of thrash metal.
And at the same time, yeah, absolutely, and at the same time they're actually softening as well, but at the same time they're getting heavy at the same time. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Aye, they're going the opposite ends of the spectrum, but that's the music anyway. But for me, another iconic image, I love it.
Yeah, another Mick Rock image as well,
Aye.
So
Aye.
absolutely.
Mick Rock's the man.
The font. I think block letters would be the only font that would work for Sheer Heart Attack.
Aye, because it's quite a hard hitting title. Aye,
because it's like a horror movie type font. It's like
aye.
So you're calling something Sheer Heart Attack. It's like serious.
Yeah. No, I never thought of it in that
something
way.
hard hitting.
Impact.
Yeah. So it's got to stand out. So if you put this in some sort of royal font or Cyrillic or whatever, it look a bit strange. So getting the point across, Sheer Heart Attack, that type of thing. That's there's stuff going on here. John's got his hands over his balls, and Freddie's like, "Do you want to see my pubes?" That type of thing. And also Roger.
Oh, aye.
Roger, his hair.
It's pointing at the
His
Queen
hair
logo.
is like a pre-Raphaelite painting. It's like a Rossetti painting. In particular,
It's really
a painting called Lady Lilith. The hair just reminds me of. I know a wee bit about that.
You do, actually.
a pretentious cunt.
So I would imagine they spent fucking ages lying there while somebody
Sprayed them.
did the hair, spread that out until they were happy that the hair was I think.
Aye,
I think you're right, Paul.
important.
Though I think you're right. I think this.
So it's not just a band photo, right?
point
We'll
and
spray,
click and-
we'll
yeah,
spray
yeah.
you with some glycerin and fucking click. This is this is
spent time on it.
this is
getting
like
it right.
Queen 2. This is deliberately staged, and they're looking for a certain vibe and
quite androgynous as well, innit? I mean, obviously.
yeah, very 70s. Very,
Oh, definitely, aye. It's like, androgynous, even homoerotic.
Aye,
as well,
yeah,
to be honest,
yeah.
aye.
Maybe try to stir the the rock crowd up a little bit with this cover,
Aye.
man.
Maybe.
And
Maybe.
you've got to be impressed at how hairy Fred's chest is, man. It's fucking pretty cool.
That is some serious.
I had a hairy chest,
serious
but-
chest wiggage happening there, right? In fact, it looks like his hair's. It looks like kind of like he's been Planet of the Apes. He's kind of the way his hair merges into his face. It's kind of like
Yeah,
Dr.
just a
Zeus,
shadow.
whatever the fuck
Aye,
that cunt's called. Aye,
aye, that's cool,
Planet of
man.
the Apes core.
Aye. And he's got the look in his face as well. It's kind of disinterested,
Aye, totally,
but
man.
at the same time, he's as if he's focused on something.
Satanic.
Aye.
Aye, for me, that's the thing that always sticks out about this album cover. And if I'm being honest, that's the only thing that doesn't work for me. It's Freddie. Because the rest of them are kind of looking away, and the rest of them look either like they're dead, You know, like
Aye.
like they're actually dead. You know, like especially Brian. Brian looks like he's dead. You know, the way his eyes are just like so still. I know it sounds stupid. It's a picture, so
don't
still.
care.
I'm gonna be fucking
Focus.
still in a picture, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like the three of them are dead. You could say they're dead, and Freddy's not. And the thing that doesn't work for me with this one is they're all kind of lying down. But Freddy's leaning on something. His arms up, leaning.
Aye,
So
that's
the
a
whole
point,
perspective,
actually. I never thought of that before.
it kind of
So he is.
kind-
He's resting
he's
his elbow
leaning
on
it,
something.
so it
Aye.
just doesn't. It just loses it a wee bit for me. So if his arm was actually down and he was lying back a wee bit more, and
Aye.
or you know, it would work better for me.
In fact, that.
So that's
sorry,
a
Dave, sorry, carry on.
sorry.
No, I was just
carry
going to
on,
say
Joe, no, it's fine.
you've made me think about this completely different. Maybe this was 4 individual pictures that was collaged together then, rather than I always thought they were lying over the top of each other, and it's obviously made to look that way. But I don't think it is actually. The more I look at it, I think it's been individual images that have been overlaid over the top of each other.
Could be. No
If
idea.
anybody has any info on that,
Could be, man.
let us know. But I think that's
Aye,
the
aye,
case with that,
definitely,
man.
aye.
Yep.
Could be.
Because why would Freddie be leaning on something?
that-
That would suggest that if that was the case, Freddie's standing right, so the rest of them are floating in fucking mid-air. So, do you know what I mean?
The only thing I can think of though that would make sense in terms of them all, you know, being together in the photograph is actually what's happening is you've got Roger and John on a bed, and Freddie's sitting at the bottom of the bed but not on the bed.
yeah,
He's back onto it.
Yeah.
And he's leaning up basically onto the mattress, and
Yeah.
Brian's just leaning on Freddie at the
Yeah.
end of the bed.
Or it's
know,
just an
that's-
arrangement
that-
of cushions and
Because you can see kind of just slight things at the side of Freddie and the side of Roger. So I would guess that Roger and John are on a bed. Brian and Freddie are not. They're actually get their backs against the
I
end
see
of the
what
bed.
you mean, right? They're maybe on the
And,
floor
you
or
know,
something
you know-
like that.
Yeah. They're sitting on the floor and with their backs.
Rogers
onto the end
hanging
of
off the
bed.
bed,
You know?
like, off the edge.
And Rogers,
Right,
exactly.
that would make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Aye.
So I think maybe that's what's going on. But it's just the Freddie thing. It's always.
it's just
The other three are playing their part. It looks like, but
Yeah.
Freddie's not. You know, it's
Maybe if-
so. But I do like it. I mean, it's an excellent album cover. But even from our very young age, that always seemed to me that he was doing something completely different, and that might be the point. I mean, I don't know. That might have been the point. Now this might
It's to make him stand out.
it might be alluding to something. Yeah, it could be just something as simple as that. But it's kind of it's meant to give the vibe they're all kind of just lying there, but Freddie's like just chilling out with his arm up.
Aye.
You know? It's- you
See
know,
that? If you look
so,
at John, I'm
but,
tilting my head here. Look at John. He actually looks quite happy.
does but John does. Well, I was gonna say John does most of the time. He doesn't
If
really.
he's dead,
actually.
if you're dead though, you're not going to really have a smile on your face. I know because I've seen some corpses
Aye.
in my time, so it's obviously fresh
but-
corpses.
Aye, so well there you go. I think maybe there you go. I think Brian definitely looks like he's dead. Roger looks like he's stoned. John looks like he's just take the picture. And Freddie's
Maybe
just
it looks like
chilling.
he wants
So
to put fuck
maybe
out of somebody in the background.
what's Roger pointing at?
The Queen, the actual word Queen. He's like, just in case you didn't know what the name of the band was in block
Aye.
fucking bold font. It's Queen.
but no, it's a
I love
excellent
this
album
image.
cover. I do
I
like
think
it
it's
a lot.
great.
Yeah.
And on the back of the album cover, you've got the slashes, the same image, but the slashes
That's
through the
right,
image.
yeah.
That's
Aye.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's kind of sliced, which is
Quite
again pretty cool.
Although I was saying it's androgynous, but it's kind of more like you were saying, Paul. You know, the name of the album. You know, it's quite an aggressive title as well, and it is androgynous. But like you said, I think they're meant to be kind of dead. So it's quite a. I think they maybe try to go for a kind of sinister image, and they've kind of pulled it off, but not really. But still fucking cool, man.
Mhm.
Aye, Freddie and his whole satanic.
Satanic
stuff, aye.
Panic.
Yeah.
Aye. Is it making the shortlist?
I'm trying to think.
No.
Yeah.
No for
Well, it
me.
needs to be.
It's fucking great, but no.
Nah, it's
no.
nah.
No, I don't think either. It's not a contender for the best, so it can't make the shortlist. Possibly make the shortlist. So, but yeah, still.
I'd like it in a
Excellent,
t-shirt,
though.
but
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
Yeah.
Album number 4, the big one. So, A Night at the Opera. So we jump to 1975. We've got the very famous cover here, biggest selling Queen album. I think it was up until that Made in Heaven thing came out, which we're not going to be discussing. And so Paul, because this was your first ever album, wasn't it?
First ever LP that I ever
this
bought.
probably
Yeah.
means a lot to you. This,
I used to stare at this for fucking hours. Yeah, and obviously
You were committed.
read the lyrics and all that when the thing was playing, and yeah, but yeah, you know, when I see this, I'm like, oh fuck, man, I'm home, kind of thing, you know. So it's got a lot of sentimental attachments for me and all that kind of stuff. But you know, if I take all that aside, it's a striking album cover on its own. Anyway. Obviously everybody knows what Freddie designed this, you know, designed the crest based on, you know, their birth signs and all that. So the two lines are Roger and John, aren't they? Leo. The crab is Brian, and the two fairies is Virgo, which is Freddie.
Alright.
What's the crab then? Crab is
Cancer.
Oh,
Cancer.
Crab's cancer, aye.
Yeah.
So what's the
and then
fucking swan? What's the swan all about then?
It's a
I think that's
phoenix.
just that.
Is that meant to be a phoenix?
Yeah.
Right.
Phoenix rising from the flames. The
It's a-
flames is
Does a phoenix get
because I always
right,
thought it was a swan as well, but
I think
apparently
that's
it's
just a wee additional thing. Aye.
yeah,
to kind of tie the image in? Aye.
yeah.
I think
That's
so,
cool,
aye.
man. I suppose it's like the swan. It's like the phoenix's. Everything's under the phoenix's wings. So aye,
Aye.
aesthetically it marries up. Aye.
Yeah. And yeah, it's amazing. It's got a very kind of I don't know, to me, very 1920s look about it. You know, like a kind of
I know what you mean.
could be a logo from some sort of product from back then.
Maybe that's deliberate. You know, with a lot of the kind of pastiche
Yeah.
songs that are on it.
There's an interesting story about this. So that, you know, obviously Freddie designed the original, but it was a guy called David Costa that did this and did A Day to the Races, and he decided he was going to put the original artwork for this in A Day to the Races up for auction, and he discovered that he's lost this, so he couldn't. But he put A Day to the Races. But we'll speak about that in the next one. Obviously it's conveying it's kind of, to me, you're being invited to
Aye,
the
totally.
opera
It's done
kind
like
of
an
thing,
invitation sort of thing. The font and stuff.
yeah, so it's like, you know, high class and all that kind of carry on, you know, luxurious, that type of thing. Yeah, and pompous and grandiose like fuck. And you've got to remember that this band were by this point had no money and were bankrupt, and their you know, soon to be ex-manager was suing them and God knows what. So they were in a bit of trouble, but you wouldn't know it looking at this. It was, you know, it's
Still get that those
conveying-
delusions of grandeur.
aye,
You know, still
conveying
even
that they're the
even, yeah,
biggest
yeah.
the biggest band in the world and all that kind of stuff.
Trying
You know,
to
so
manifest their own destiny sort of thing.
yeah, so their self belief is, you know, still fucking ripping out of them, man.
Quite right.
Yeah, it's a fucking, yeah. For me, it's a great cover. Yeah, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe.
Aye. I mean, everything that Paul said, I mean, it's fucking iconic. I mean, even, you know, for a band to have two albums, for me, Queen 2 and this Image, you know, to have covers that, you know, even the average Joe Blogs in the street, he didn't have the title of the album and showed them, they'd probably say, oh, that's Queen. Do you know what I mean? Because they're just kind of seared into everybody's kind of retinas. But it's a fantastic image. And what impresses me about this, actually looking at it more closely, is the amount of colour that's used in this, but everything seems to still stand out really, really well, which is quite impressive, because there's a lot of colour in this, but nothing seems to be lost in the image, if that makes any sense. I'm getting a little bit technical here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was kind of interesting that they left the inside of the queue kind of white, which is totally cool. They didn't put the crown in it. I suppose obviously you've got the crown on one of the lines. Well, you've got crowns on both the lines heads there. But like you said, it's kind of like, you know, very grandiose, and, you know, it absolutely ties in perfectly with the music, like Queen 2 does for me. You know, when I listen to Queen 2, I think of dark, kind of brooding stuff. With this, I think very light, although there is heavy material on this. But it's very all over the shop. And grandiose. An amazing album cover. Brilliant.
looking at it with more contemporary eyes, I wonder if the sort of the lines, which looks like it's the sun rays or whatever in the background, if they hadn't been there and it had just been the rest of it. But this is me looking through it in 2022. I think would have looked better. If that was presented now, I'd be like, nah, I think we need to lose that back thing. But it might look worse as a result. I don't know, but just that's the thing that's in my head now. But yeah, you can't argue with this. This is just, it's class. It's Paul talked about the first album being minimalist. This is too in many ways. I mean, I know there's a lot of detail in the design, but it's still very clean. The white and the font, as you said, like the invitation and all the rest of it. And it's interesting because obviously the first album, the second album, had that kind of grandeur thing going on, and the pomposity or whatever you want to call it. Sheer Heart Attack, less so, Blocky Writing, and then we're back to the kind of the pomp again. It's kind of like, it's almost that was a little gap from the pomp, and then we're back with it again. And yeah, it really suits the album as well. I think that when you look at this and you know what's on that album, it just seems to. But then again, it's, if you don't know any other album cover, you're going to say that, I suppose, aren't you? But it just seems to make sense, and it's, Paul was alluding to, it looks very 1920s, 1930s or whatever. And Joe rightly said there's a lot of kind of music hall type stuff on this, and
throwback stuff.
So it kind of makes a lot of sense. Is it making the cut?
I think it's got to, man, just based on how fucking iconic it is and how striking it is, I think.
Yeah.
Right, I would say no.
Right.
But that's just a personal preference. But I think two yeses to a no means it makes a cut, so that's fine, it'll go on there. So we've got Queen 2 and A Night at the Opera making the cut.
Right. At least we're not agreeing on everything, man, spice it up a little bit.
Absolutely. One or two spicy moments. Then we move on. 1976, A Day at the Races. So very similar album cover, of course. So we've got the black background, we've got the crest again, but it's slightly different. It's looking a bit more animated, a bit more like a
cartoon.
Cartoon, yeah. And you've got your Virgo twins looking a bit more detailed. They've got, their faces are more detailed. There's a little nipple showing as well.
But
naughty. And they've got the crown actually in the middle. Joe mentioning about the previous album not having anything in the queue. You've got the crown sitting there in the middle. And what do we think of this then? Is that better? The Night at the Opera, worse, the same, just different?
Well, I would say, obviously, this is the first time I've really sat and looked at these album covers, one after the other. But looking at this image, I would say I always thought this album cover was better than A Night at the Opera. But when I actually, it isn't that it's not. This is actually probably a better image in the sense that it's more. It's definitely, like the fairies and stuff are a lot more detail in them and stuff like that. There's more detail in this, but it kind of. It kind of looks like a kind of cheaper version of A Night at the Opera, if that makes any sense. But I still think it looks really cool. And obviously, it's done deliberately to be a companion piece to the album before. Whether that worked in their favour or not, I mean, it kind of set themselves up for a fall a little bit, I think, coming from A Night at the Opera and how huge it was to, and maybe kind of ballsy, to kind of have this as a comparison piece, do you know what I mean? Because personally, I wouldn't have done that. I would have had a completely different vibe for the next record. I wouldn't have tied the two of them in together, especially coming off an already massive album.
Yeah.
Because the time tells, down the road. This album always took lived in the shadow of A Night at the Opera, unfairly so, because I think we all agree with this. This is a far better album as a whole than A Night at the Opera.
More consistent, I would say.
More consistent. Yeah. I think the highs are higher on A Night at the Opera, but as across the board, I think this is a more consistent record. But the image, it's really, really well drawn. I really like it. It's a cracking image.
Yep.
This one, there appears to be more. The figures appear more animated. There seems to be more movement in this than A Night at the Opera. This is quite static. And I remember thinking, that lion's got wings on it.
Aye, that's right. And a beard as well, man. Cool.
And you know, I was thinking, I couldn't remember seeing wings on, but you know, you go back and you look closely, and the Night at the Opera lion does have wings on it.
Right.
It's just that they're not as clear and defined as here.
That's a lot sharper, this image. Yep.
Yeah, this and I don't know, the black background as well makes it pop a bit more, maybe.
Aye, totally. Aye.
And the fact that the stripes in the background they're paler, so the actual crest thing itself sits forward a little bit more.
Yeah.
I sound as if I'm saying this is better. I don't know. Sometimes I do think it is. It's a better image.
I think Joe was kind of alluding to it. I think Night at the Opera has got a classier look to it overall, probably, than this.
Yeah.
But in terms of just what you actually like and what you know, how you feel about looking both images, there's something slightly more appealing about this, and I think it's probably just because there's a bit more detail. And there's a nipple as well, you know.
Nipples will always get you higher points.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
And plus the fucking the goose at the top looks fucking seriously angry.
The goose.
And it looks really pissed off, man.
It does,
Actually, it's looking the same way Freddy does in Sheer Heart Attack. It's even looking the same direction.
And the lion,
it's looking off camera, wanting to boot fuck out of somebody.
The winged lion looks a bit pissed off as well.
It does. It looks like it's like don't even say it, mate.
Whereas the other lion looks well happy. He's like, what's this cunt? What is that toad face cunt? This other lion.
Your fucking wings. What of it?
Aye, what about it?
Aye.
And the other line's like, I'm happy with no wings. Why are you getting angry? And the other one's like, well, fuck you.
Aye, exactly.
One thing about
He's angry in this.
What I will say is the crown's not that good. The crown could add more detail on it.
Aye. It could have been pointy.
It kind of looks unfinished or something. I don't know.
I know what you mean.
It's a bit too... Aye, I know what you mean. It's a bit flat looking. I know the whole image is kind of flat, you know, there's not a lot of shadowing and stuff in it, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Aye.
But
I think the cue's pretty sharp though. I think you're actually looking at it, like, you know, it's quite kind of metallic silver kind of thing. Yeah, it's pretty, really cool. Aye.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, right, well, alright. A Day at the Races, is this making the cut?
I think.
I'll say no. With a heavy
I'm going to
heart.
say no as well.
With a heavy
I'd probably
heart.
say no. I'd probably say no as well. Aye.
Listen, the thing is, I mean, none of us dislike any of the album covers up to this point, you know. But I think we're trying to reach that ultimate cover. So, okay, all right. So far we're still with Queen 2 and A Night at the Opera. The final cut. Okay, we move on to 1977. And we have News of the World, of course, as you all know. And this album cover really, it has to be folded out to fully experience it, you know, as you guys know, because obviously you only see, you know, a few of the band members, and Roger's away down the bottom, you know, having been...
Why am I not on the front cover, you cunt?
Exactly. Having been killed by Frank.
And he's the guy that commissioned the artwork in the first place. You think he would be front and centre?
Aye.
Frank Kelly.
Frias.
Uno.
Frias.
It's a good image, but
Freas.
Is that
Frias.
Frank?
Aye, Frank.
Right, anyway,
Big Frank.
Big Frank put this together, and I think this is the probably, you know, because you've got, I think when we actually, just to go back slightly to A Night at the Opera and, you know, a Day at the Races, you've got these extra little bits of artwork, you know, around the album, the song titles and bits and bobs on the inside and all that, you know, the theatrical masks and all that, you know, the tapping the sad face and stuff, and you know, A Night at the Opera and things like that, and daggers and all this kind of stuff, all this theatrical stuff. So it's very much like design is continuing inside for those two albums. And it's the same with this, you know, obviously, because you've got the gatefold sleeve and you open it and you see all the people running away, and you've got, you know, Frank's hand going into kind of
amazing image,
just terrorising everyone. So it's again, it's just weird. It's just weird to think where, you know, the sort of evolution of their album covers, and it's not an evolution because it's not an evolution the way your music evolves. Album covers are just standalone, and you know, probably don't really reflect anything other than what you're feeling or what you think that, you know, the music's, what should marry up to the music. But it's weird you've went for these two grandiose first two. One, it's a wee bit more, you know, straightforward, you know, blocky writing, back to grandiose, and then back to kind of almost like the Sheer Heart Attack vibe on this, you know, where it's just kind of, you know, again, no frills. Although the artwork is absolutely stunning, you know, it's just, it's absolutely brilliant. I love it. It's just an amazing album cover and amazing album. We all love it to death, you know. But yeah, they're getting, and it's kind of interesting because, you know, we talk about Sheer Heart Attack and are they dead? Are they not dead? You know, is Brian dead and the rest aren't? You know, that kind of thing. But they're all actually dead in this one, you know, because Frank's killed them.
He's been dipped.
Yeah, that's it. So they've all been killed. So it's kind of interesting, but you know that's happened again. So
that's a good. I was thinking that myself. That's two potential death scenes in front of album covers.
Killed themselves again, you know. But I think this is such a bizarre album cover. It's just so bizarre, but it just fucking works. I just love it, and you can see. I mean, because of the artwork, you can see you can see the brush strokes even in the background there, you know, in the green and stuff, and it's just. I just think it's amazing. It's you know, I'm no artist, so I can't find the words to really describe what I'm feeling about it. But it just amazing. Sorry guys, I'll let you pick up.
I mean, it's kind of interesting you're calling him Frank. So Queen could have potentially had this tour and had like Iron Maiden's Eddie. They could have had a big Frank come on stage.
Up, yeah.
Would have been quite cool. That would have been cool.
They had Franks at the launch party, didn't they? They had.
Oh, did they? Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. That's interesting.
Whenever it was in London, they had like cardboard cutouts dotted around and all that. Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah. But the image is. I'm not going to say it. David didn't say there. I mean, the image is fucking again. It's another kind of iconic image, you know. And it's probably, and in fact, there's no probably about it. It's definitely the most heavy metal Queen album cover, without a doubt. You know, if you didn't know Queen, you know, which would be weird if you didn't at this point, because obviously Bohemian Rhapsody was so big. But if you didn't know them and you've seen this, you've seen the blood, and you know, it's very something you maybe see. Oh, they maybe sound like Black Sabbath or something like that, you know, or Uriah Heep or something, all that kind of shit. But I mean, the details fucking phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? And obviously the inside of the sleeve, you know, with it's reach, with it's. I mean that, and you know, and you get the terror in everybody's face. It's a fucking absolutely stunning image. Do you know what I mean? It's weird because it kind of reminds me of, in any way similar, but. See the Pink Floyd stuff, especially the wall, you know, like the way it's kind of, how am I trying to say this? Seeing the inside of News of the World where the hand's reaching in and everybody's running away screaming.
And you get the inside the wall as the walls opened up.
Yeah,
and you get that, like,
exactly. They kind of remind me of each other. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just drawing parallels where there are none there, but it just seems to match the album as well.
Did you merge two words together there?
I know. Aye.
Did you say parallels?
There you go, mate. Parallels, mate.
Parallels.
Is that not a drum?
Yeah, it's a word.
That's paradiddles, isn't it? Parallels. There you go. Making up new words here, man. Trying to make myself sound like an arty cunt when I'm really just a fucking thick bastard. But I'm just talking shite. A fucking amazing album cover, man. Aye, brilliant.
Aye. Stunning, man. And you've got the Family Guy thing with Stu.
Aye.
He's frightened of it.
Aye.
I'm not the biggest Family Guy
funny,
fan in the world. You know, I can take it or leave it. You know, there's a lot of good episodes, don't get me wrong, but that's really, really fucking funny.
He's totally terrified of the album.
Queen News of the World. Check it out. Ah! Whoa, what's the matter?
What the hell is that? A killer robot monster?
No, it's News of the World. It's an album by the band Queen, see?
Ah!
Stewie, relax.
No, Brian, you keep that thing away from me. Is it looking at me? Can it see me?
Man, you're really scared of this thing, huh?
Does it eat little boys?
I don't know, maybe, if it's hungry.
Ah! 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 God, why does he look sad? He's already destroyed mankind. What else could he want? It's that robot! He killed Queen and now he's going to kill me!
He didn't kill Queen. They're all fine. Most of them are fine.
He's like, why is he sad? His eyes are sad. Because his eyes are pretty sad, actually. It's
Yeah.
like he's kind of...
He doesn't understand.
He doesn't understand his strength.
killing
Aye,
people.
that's actually
Aye.
a good point. That's the vibe I get. It's like he's went to touch Freddy and went and kind of splodged him.
He's genuinely. I think the original story is that he's just genuinely he's curious and all that, and he keeps killing people, and he's
Aye.
like, oh, how you know.
It's kind of similar to the
The
Iron
affects
Giant a
us.
wee bit, you know.
Aye.
You know the story of the Iron Giant, which is
Yeah.
this, you know.
Yeah. Aye.
You know, of course, because Iron Giant is, you know, soft and, you know, but
Yeah.
he's designed to kill, basically, you know. And,
Aye, and obviously the size
Also-
of him and the strength.
What I will say is, I can't believe the bastards nicked our font.
Aye.
I know, well, but
Jesus, man.
we'll let them away with it, man.
Let that one slide.
Such a good album cover.
That's it. I think the artwork for this went for something like $67,000 or something. Like
Oh, I
that.
went more than
But
that.
I meant to say the artwork for it was fairly recently. There was an auction for the A Day at the Races original artwork from that David Costa guy, and it was $28,000.
That's cheap,
It went
actually. I
for-
thought that
to,
went a
to,
lot.
to an American collector. So well done, Lynn.
Aye, Lynn. Can also
Aye, your
Might have been
boys.
Doug.
Or Doug.
Aye.
Maybe it was the two of them. Maybe they clubbed in.
maybe our Doug had a paper run and he had extra money coming in to buy it. But I just say as well before, just while I remember is this was also, I think we said it in the Judas Priest pod. This was also the reason that Rob Halford wrote Metal Gods as well, because of this album cover.
Cool.
So is it making the cut?
Yes.
Absolutely, aye,
Yeah,
100%.
it's got to, innit?
Yeah.
It's got
Aye.
to.
Brilliant
Got to.
fucking album. In my opinion, the best Queen album, man.
Certain days it is for me as well. I just didn't.
Yeah, I love
That-
it, man. I love
stunning.
everything on it.
Right. 1978. Jazz. So, this is where, obviously, jazz is quite notorious with Queen fans. It kind of divides Queen fans, and you don't get too many people in the middle with this album either. They kind of just think it's just, you know, disappointing, or, you know, people defend it, you know, to the hilt. So it's kind of an interesting album, because the album cover itself, again, it's quite obvious. You would say, having News of the World and then this right after it, I think it's obvious they've moved away. The grandiose stuff is probably now never going to come back, you know, and that's
Fine.
obvious, because you know what obviously comes after this anyway. You know, it's not a big stretch, but you can see obviously quite clearly that they've, and even musically, they've reached a point where it's more straightforward as well. So, yeah, so this is quite straightforward as well. You know, this was based on an image that Roger saw on the Berlin Wall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently, yep.
Aye. So he's seen this in the Berlin Wall and seen Saw. I always get my fucking vocabulary, my fucking grammar all fucked up.
Making up words like comparallel, mate.
Good, mate. Hashtag comparallel.
Parallel.
That's the name of our new band, Comparallel.
Aye, some wanky fucking prog shite. Fucking
Aye.
Aye.
comparallel.
Playing in 42/6.
Right, jazz. Paul, what's up with jazz? What's going on here?
Yeah, it's striking. It's fairly original as well. You know, it stands out. Lose the bikes at the bottom.
Aye, I think the bikes fuck it up.
The bikes at the bottom, they're fucking stupid. Yeah, take them away and you've got a fucking pretty good album cover. Yeah, and it's their sound's changing again. They're not as I was going to say they're not as pompous, but they are in certain
Aye.
parts in this album. You know,
They've never not been
Aye,
pompous, but
aye.
in terms of their yeah.
but their sound is changing. It's becoming a bit more simplified and all that. So
Said on time, mate.
yeah.
Don't know about that.
So this is a change up from obviously a night at the opera, A Day at the Races. Of it. Fuck. News of the
Fuck's
World.
sake, News of the
Jesus
World.
fucking Christ,
Sake,
man.
Paul, man.
I'm fucking making parallels here that I don't know.
Hashtag parallel. Could he start using that for on, man? That's my catchphrase.
Yeah.
Parallels.
I do like it, but you lose the bikes, man. I do love to get the photo in there.
In the studio.
The studio.
That's amazing. But it's okay. It is what it is.
I mean, I'm looking at it again, like, spending real time looking at this image and stuff like that. I think the bikes, that's shite. I don't like that. And I don't like the repeated Queen at the top either. That's a bit shit. I think they should have just had Queen in the top right hand corner or a top right hand corner or something like that. I think it would have looked a bit better. I don't think you need it, because I do think the image in itself, minus the bikes and all the Queens at the top, it's a very weird album cover, but I don't dislike it, man. I'm
the same with that. Yeah, and even the bikes and the Queen, I would lose all the writing and just have that, and just being bold enough just to have jazz in the image, But I know obviously record company pressures would be no, you need to have Queen on the cover. Same even when I was looking at the Sheer Heart Attack album cover, because get the big blocky writing. I was looking at it and I was considering whether even Queen should have been on that instead of just the Sheer Heart Attack.
I like that
image, So I thought. I thought, but again, that's maybe more a contemporary thing than. I mean, it's probably not. You've got Dark Side of the Moon. You've got, The Wall and all that. That didn't have Pink Floyd. Well, The Wall had the sticker on it, of course. But so it had been done at that point. So, but again, I get it. Maybe EMI were just like, no. We always need to.
I mean, I admit, just you're talking about that makes a good point, because I remember when we signed to Relapse. That was a big thing. It was like, yep, you need to have big, massive, the name of the band right on the front of the album cover, and I'm not a fan of that, really. And the first two albums that we did with them had, the first two albums we did had a massive title and stuff, and I didn't like it at all. I thought, I'm much more a fan of the kind of Pink Floyd thing, like you were saying, the minimalist stuff, and let the image carry it. You know what I mean?
Aye, definitely. I think we're all in agreement here. I like it. I do. I think it's a good album cover. And I agree with you with a couple of tweaks. Here, the names and the bikes at the bottom. It would just go even more minimalist, basically. I think be a bit more bolder. But yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot, and I think it's just a striking image, as Paul said. Not good. Is it making the cut?
Doesn't make the cut.
I thought so. But again, so far there's none of these album covers that I dislike. That's the thing, and I think we're all in agreement with that.
Yep.
We jump forward to 1980, and it's The Game. So obviously, I think the thing about this album cover, it's kind of hard to sort of talk about when it's on a screen, because you need the record for this to work, because
it's metallic and stuff like that.
It's on the metallic record, it's that kind of thing. And what do you think about this album cover? Me, I'll just put my tuppence worth in just now. Very underwhelming to me. I don't think there's anything I'm particularly great about this. I like the image. The image is cool. I mean, if that was on the back,
on the back,
that was on the back, you'd be like, that's a fucking really cool image of Queen.
Totally.
Even though Brian May still looks like your man, fucking Faye
Priest,
League of Gentlemen.
He does look like the guy
from Les McQueen. Aye.
Creme brulee, aye.
Creme brulee, aye. That's the one. But it's cool image. I like it. Like I say, a lot. It just doesn't really do it for me. And even the font at the top, no, that's not really happening for me. It's just, I don't know. This is probably for me personally, the first album cover where I go, not really happening. But I do concede that you have to see this. You have to have the for it to have its full effect. You do need to have the album cover, that metallic thing that Joe's talking about. So
yeah, totally. I totally agree. It's. I mean, I get that. The games are very stripped down. It's probably for me the game. I think you guys are the same. It's probably the most streamlined Queen album. What I mean? Like for like styles and stuff like that. It pretty much all very much stays in one sort of vibe, although there is bits and bobs that are slightly different. You know, you get the funk thing and you get the rock and roll thing.
It's got that weird thing. The songs are pretty different, but it just has an overall vibe, doesn't
Cohesive,
it?
cohesiveness,
It's something that's
aye.
you know, which is unusual for a Queen album. So I know exactly what you're talking about, Joe.
Yeah.
Aye. And I think they've tried to reflect that. Maybe you know, with the obviously the artwork being kind of very, the artwork, the image being just very like here it is, you know, no frills. This is the first time you've really heard a Queen album that kind of matches the image, if you know what I mean, in the sense of it's very stripped back, very rock and roll. So I get where they were probably coming from with it, but I do agree that image should have been on the back and they should have had a cooler cover. Even if they had a big motorbike, like an old 50s motorbike in the front or something, that'd look fucking cool as fuck, you know, like something like that, you know, like a really, without making it sound cheesy, but you know what I mean, they could have had like a cool, I don't know, they could have something, because obviously they're trying to portray the whole rocker look here, you know, and
Well,
you know,
it's from the Crazy Little Thing video shoot.
Aye,
So
which
there
is
was
all
a
motorbikes and
there,
shit.
so they could have.
Aye, they could have maybe did something really cool with a motorbike or something like that, you know, tied in with the 50s look. But it's not a great album cover, but it doesn't offend me or anything like that. It's a bit lazy for me. It's a bit lazy.
Yeah. Whose image is this? Does anybody know? Actually,
I couldn't see who did it. Anywhere, any credit?
Right. I wasn't sure if it was one of Peter's, maybe, you know, because some of them that I know some of them made. I mean, the one of Freddie jumping off the drum riser.
Yeah,
And the cover of Play the Game is
That's a great
so,
picture, man.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I don't know, but I mean, but the image certainly, the image is like, we're all agreeing, the image is
It's cool
I mean,
as fuck. Aye.
because of the black and white and all that, and you know, again the shadows and the light and shade and all that. It just looks good. I think it's possibly how it's framed as well. You know, the silver and
Aye.
again maybe we're being harsh because when you see it in the
It
silver,
does
it is
pop. Aye,
better.
it does pop.
It is better than
it
seeing it
is-
on the screen with
it is better.
essentially just grey, you know, around about it. So
yeah.
yeah, but still, I think it's the first one that's kind of weak for
Aye.
me.
And it's strange as well because the CD version is a different photo.
Is it?
Because Brian in the CD
Alright.
version, Brian's got his hand on his hip,
Oh, so he has.
and Roger's arms are slightly different. I know. In the
Alright,
image,
okay.
aye.
Aye, now
So
that
it's
you
like
mention it, aye, that's
a different photo.
Aye,
they
that's
used,
right.
aye.
Or maybe it is
Strange.
the same picture, but it's just cropped tighter. Maybe, I don't know.
No, there's a noticeable.
Oh, is that right?
like,
Right.
So you can see Brian's left arm there.
Aye, of course,
He's
so you
actually
can. Yeah,
got
you're
his,
right.
he's got his hand on his hip.
That's right. I know the one you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah, actually, now you mention
Aye.
that. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, I think John and Fred are the same, but there's something different about Roger as well in the CD cover.
Brian was
It's
camping it up
strange,
with a hand
isn't
in the hip.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, David. It's better in the flesh, as it were. You know, when you've got it in your
Aye.
hands. You know, with the silver and all that. But
It's better when you've got it in your hand.
Always better when you've got it in your
absolutely.
hand, mate.
It's always.
Always.
There we go, all the dad jokes coming out, you know.
Ah, fucking hell.
can crack jokes like
It's better when you've got it in your hand.
Get a son.
Aye. It's maybe the first kind of I wouldn't say bad one, but underwhelming one.
Yeah,
But-
But
I'd agree
a
with that.
fucking
It's more like a single cover.
aye,
really.
totally like Crazy Little Thing
Aye,
called
aye,
Love.
aye,
Aye, totally.
aye,
But
yeah.
a fucking amazing album, man.
Oh, aye.
Fucking love this
excellent.
record, man.
Aye.
Love it.
What? In my top 5, definitely.
Oh, fuck easy. Aye, definitely.
Alrighty, so we skip on
Yes.
to Queen's first soundtrack, Flash Gordon. Loads happening here, isn't there,
Loads. I
lads?
love that
Aye,
tone of
yeah,
yellow, man. John D's yellow.
Loads to talk about.
Yeah, no, this is. I think I love this. I think
Aye.
it just again, it's striking. It just hits you and does exactly what it's supposed to do. You know, it's
Old.
you know, it could have been really cheesy with images from the movie and all that kind of stuff, and it would have just looked. You know, I know on the back you've got Flash jumping on. You know, with the bit at the end,
Aye.
yeah. You know, on the bit at the end, you know, that's cool because it's on the back. But you know, it could have been something like that in the front, and it just would have looked horrendous. But I think just because it's like
Aye,
this,
brilliant.
I just you know, the font rules and you know the planet with the you know the lightning bolt and all that.
Aye, it's fucking excellent. Iconic again, isn't it, man? It's, I mean, put that in a t-shirt. I mean, I don't wear yellow t-shirts, but I'd wear that.
Aye, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Is that us then?
Aye, not really much to say about this one, man. Other than it's cool.
Aye,
it's
no, and
class.
Very fucking underrated album as well, by the way.
Oh, fucking brilliant. And a tip to the hat to Brian, because, you know,
Definitely, it's his
Brian did
album.
most of the heavy lifting on this record.
His
Brilliant.
album, definitely, aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Brilliant. Well done, Brian.
Aye. Excellent. No, good stuff. And then we move on.
They didn't ask if it was on the list.
Oh,
Oh, nah.
No.
is it on the list?
No.
Nah, it can't be on the list, man.
Nah,
I
don't
do
think
love it,
so.
though.
Nah.
It does rule though, but it's not on the list. So we've got Hot Space 1982, the very famous Four Faces, and a kind of minimalist cartoon. We just keep saying minimalist because we've got no fucking vocabulary here, you know what I mean? So, aye, so Paul.
The one thing that distresses me about this is where the fuck's John's eye?
John's other eye.
Aye.
Aye, where is that eye?
Aye,
did it
aye,
go?
aye,
Aye.
aye.
Because it's like everybody else is, you know, and obviously Brian's got the similar kind of shade on his
Mm-hmm.
Aye, so
side
where's
of his
John's
face,
eyeball?
and he's got a fucking eye, but John hasn't.
It was
I
like when you
think John's
first,
winking.
yeah, it was like the first time when you saw the innuendo video, and you're like, "Why is John, you know, like,
Aye,
is
why
it like John?"
Why
and
is
he's,
John a fucking
aye, but
alley
then you
peep?
find out he's
Whatever it
a
is.
Picasso.
Picasso,
it's
sorry,
Picasso.
yeah,
Aye, you
so
find
dumb.
out, you know, they're all different artists, but
Aye.
at the time you didn't know that. You're like, "Why the fuck is he?"
Aye.
All blocky and
But like, you
Aye.
know, aye, and the rest of
There
them all
was all
still
sorts-
look like themselves.
You know, conspiracy theories that he's left the band and all that. And, anyway, back to Hot Space. Freddie looks fucking amazing. I would get
Aye,
that
great
tattooed
image.
on my arm. Actually,
great
I
image.
might actually do that one day. Get
So you're
that.
going to say your arse?
Mars, fuck Brian, there's something going on with Brian's hair. It's like he looks like a Hasidic Jew with the curls at the
Oh,
bottom.
the wee curls,
I know
aye,
what
at
you
the
mean.
bottom.
Aye.
And the things in his hair make it look as if his hair's moving, as if there's something in his hair, like a fucking badger or something. Rats, whatever. Aye.
Oh, their tails singing it.
A
and
family of
stuff,
squirrels.
Mhm.
Aye.
And Roger just it hurts your eyes to look at Roger because it's
Aye, fighting colours like
Aye.
a motherfucker,
Aye.
man.
Aye, aye.
it's popping a bit much. Yeah, Freddy's the best bit here, definitely.
Aye, easily.
It's striking because the man's always fucking striking, isn't he? Just like, you know, even his kind of silhouette or whatever this is, you know.
Aye, it's a
Amazing.
great image, man.
Aye.
Great image.
And it's a good enough concept, yeah. And it probably is kind of just by over the years and all that, it's become a kind of iconic Queen image and a kind
Aye,
of
it has.
Especially Freddie, aye, especially Freddie's
because
picture,
you know
aye.
I know Blur nicked it. They brought out the best of Blur, and it's basically this
Oh,
with
is
their
that right?
faces.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I like the font. I like the Queen font, the block letters. Very, very sheer heart attack, actually.
Aye, aye.
And the Hot Space thing's very 80s, you know. I guess, you know.
Mhm.
I don't know if I like that as much, but yeah, there you go. Aye, it's cool. It's cool. Aye.
Aye,
Try to convince myself. Aye.
Aye, voice getting
Aye.
higher and all that, aye.
John's eye fucking freaks me out though.
Aye, we want to know where John's eye is, man.
Hashtag, where's John's eye?
Hashtag, aye.
John's eye.
Comparallels, hashtag. Fuck, where's John's eye, hashtag.
Joe, anything else?
Aye, I mean, Freddie's image obviously fucking looks amazing, do you know what I mean? And the other ones are okay as well. I think it's very, very, very interesting, you know, that I know maybe looking a little too far into this, but people always say this is Freddie and John's record and they're the two guys at the top, and then between them's the
Aye.
name of the album.
Mhm.
And Brian and Roger at the bottom. I'm probably just
I just
over analysing this shit. But it's almost like John's winking, and that's why you can't see his other eye.
That's
He's
it.
like,
Aye.
there you go. But
Gotta
no,
enjoy this one.
Here
aye,
it comes, can't.
exactly, aye. Here it comes, can. It's fighting colours. I mean, staring at it for too long, it's giving me a migraine right now, looking at it on the screen. But this Freddie with the tash, man. I like you, Paul. I would get this tattooed, man. This is a fucking cool as fuck image, man. The rest I can take or leave. In fact, Roger looks pretty cool. I'd say Freddie and Roger out of all the images look the best. Even though Roger's one makes my eyes bleed.
But the silhouette works.
Aye, but it works.
I know, I like it. I think it's a really cool
Aye.
album cover. I've got a lot of time for this album cover. It doesn't make any sense, but I've. I like it a lot, and I think it's different as well. Again, it's something that, we're talking about. Even getting back to Sheer Heart Attack, Joe was saying it's they're trying. Although it's a band photo, they're trying something different, and this is different again. I can't think of anything else that came before it that was like this. And then I think you're talking about Blur. I think U2 on the pop
Totally
album
ripped this
definitely
as well, yep.
ripped this off as well, which is interesting because there were the song called Discotheque on it as well, and
Aye.
you know what I mean. So this is maybe Queen's disco album, so there's definitely I think there's a wee kind of nod to that as well. But no, I like this a lot. I like this a lot. Is it making the cut?
Nah. Well, if it was just the album cover, just Freddie's image, it would.
Maybe put John's eye in there and pick a few better colours. Maybe.
Might have. Do you know what? As an aesthetic for what it is, I think it probably could be in there somewhere, man. Because it's quite bold. I'll give it that. You know what I mean? It's different and bold.
Yeah. It probably isn't.
Probably isn't. But it is still cool.
Paul, you agree with that?
Aye.
Okay.
It doesn't make it. No.
So
It's
we've
cool though.
still only got two album covers. No, three. Sorry, is it
One?
three? Yeah. News of the World.
Oh, sorry. I mean, left to do.
News of the World. Yeah. No, left on the list, on the short list. So we've got Queen 2,
News of the World.
A Night at the
News of the
Opera, and
Yep.
News of the World. Yeah. So okay, so they're on the short list, right? Okay, excellent. Right, let's shift on. Jumping 2 years later, to The Works, another band photo, album cover. Who took this, Paul?
I don't know.
That's no good enough, mate.
The band photo was taken by George Hurrell. And the sleeve design itself is by Bill Smith, but I think that's the overall design, the back, the inner sleeve and all that. So I think it's, George Hurrell. He's got the credit for this one. This image really works, doesn't it?
It's a cool picture, man.
But it does. It really works. They look good. The shadows in the background. Just a really, really cool image. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's a statement as well.
Aye.
To me, because you look at the band, they're just kind of stripped down Freddie in the vest and all that, and there's not a lot going on. And I think it's almost a kind of look where, we're back to basics here. We're back to being a rock band again. It seems
for the most part, anyway.
Aye, absolutely. Anything else? Anything particular about this?
I mean, right off the bat, obviously, Roger's been in about Freddie's 70s wardrobe because he's got his ballet pumps on, man.
Slip-ons, anyway, man.
Aye, we did.
It's a slip-ons. I always thought it was
Got a
ballet
wee zip
pumps,
on them.
man.
Aye,
It's ballet
it's
pumps.
slip-ons, man.
Aye, maybe it is slip-ons. It's the 80s, right enough.
Grey slip-ons.
And I've
White
got to,
socks.
I've got to give it up to Freddie's traps as well, man. He's been fucking hitting the
good,
gym,
man.
man. He's looking pretty swollen there, man.
Aye, he is, man.
Showing off those muscles, man. It's a good
Well,
look.
it's recorded in LA, man. He must have been doing Gold's Gym.
Aye, man. I mean,
doing his thing, man.
Without sounding too stupid, but it's mental when you actually see how broad he got, man. Because you see him in the 70s, he was really slender. Now you see him in say later on tours, he's really, especially in Montreal, his shoulders are really broad for a small guy. Do you know what I mean? He's got good definition. So fucking fair play to the amount of training that he did. And he's obviously showing it off in this album cover, man.
Aye.
This was the
People see
first ever band T-shirt I ever had. Was this image on a white T-shirt?
Oh, was it? No.
Yeah.
I remember the T-shirt, but I didn't know it was your first one.
I bought it in Woolworths in Paisley.
There you go, man.
I can't remember how much it cost, but I'm sure
About
fucking
25 quid.
the listeners are fascinated by this. But
Aye, it's really insightful, man.
yeah. Yeah, it's a striking image, very clean. I actually like the Queen logo.
Aye, it's cool, man.
It's yeah.
Got a bit of pointiness back to it again, man. Which I like.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah.
I like it. It does exactly what it needs to do.
Yep.
I think this works, and I keep saying works, and I'm not trying to be fucking a smart ass. It works more than like the game. The game doesn't work. This does. It's kind of almost like a similar idea. But this they've pulled it off with this one, definitely.
I think that the shadows what makes this pop. I don't think if they had
definitely.
the shadows in it, it wouldn't be as good an image.
Definitely. So it looks like they've got a light coming from the right hand side. Just at an angle, kind of, at a distance, and that's how they've got those shadows going. And but no, it just looks. It's just a great image. It's one of the ones you can look at for quite a long time.
It's
I know what we kind of have been right enough, but you can actually just look at the detail because the definition of it's really, really, really clear, crisp.
Yep.
But yeah,
man,
that's excellent. Roger slip-ons. There you go, man.
Pally pumps.
Class.
Is it making the final cut?
Nah.
Again, heavy heart on that one because I do really like
It's
it.
It's a cool image, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have categories. Band photograph
You
category.
could have done that.
Maybe we'll do that. We'll take for that at the end. Maybe we could do that then. But we've got Queen 2 in the shot list, so so that's going to be a bit fucking pointless, isn't it?
Totally, man. It's not going to stand up next to that.
So 2 years later, we have Kind of
Jesus
Magic.
Christ.
Right,
Nice.
no, I mean, it's just because the album's rubbish. I mean, but I think this has got to make the cut, man. I mean, it's just...
I feel like cutting my fucking throat looking at it, man.
Stunning,
cutting
man.
my eyes out, man.
Stunning. It's just...
Fucking awful.
I think...
Do you know what I was thinking?
I think this was shit in 1986.
I've got that kind of feeling. I mean, see, I was thinking about this day because you've got the Works image, which is really... It's classy. It's kind of just does exactly. I think there was a period in the early 80s where some things were cheesy, but it just worked.
Aye, this doesn't work, man.
And it got to a period about the mid 80s to kind of like the late 80s where it was just really, really tacky. A lot of stuff run about that time, images and all that. It just got 80s get really tacky run about that time before it hit, eventually hit the 90s, and this is just an example of that. It's just a tacky album cover. It's I know everybody will say we've got no sense of humour. Oh, it's just cartoon,
Aye, but it looks shite though.
I know it just it's poor. It's really, really poor, and it looks very, very, very 1986. You know what I mean? It just looks like the minute they pressed it, it was just out of date.
It's timestamps it to that time.
Aye, yeah.
Whereas any of the other images could be taken at any time, and you pretty much, and you would be like, it still stands up. This doesn't.
No, it really doesn't.
Who drew this piece of shit?
Who's responsible for this monstrosity? Let's go a wee look.
I bet it was done on a fucking really shitey
early
computer.
Aye, or like an Amiga or some fucking thing. Commodore 64.
Right, sleeve designed by Richard Gray. Obviously, he's designed the whole sleeve, but the front cover original illustration by Roger Chazon, I think, or that's Chazon, I think that's how you say his name. Other original illustration by Roger Chazon, Mike Smith, and Chuck Gamage or what?
Chuck Damage, more like.
But the photograph of in the inner sleeve, just as I see it here, of the lads at the Prince's Universe video shoot.
Aye, that's a cool picture, man.
Cool.
That should have been the front fucking cover.
That's Peter Hinds. Peter Hinds took that picture.
Nice one, our mate Peter.
There you go, man. But it's just horrendous, isn't it? Aye, so I think
it's funny how they've got Freddie's front and centre in a different colour jacket to the other three who are wearing the same jacket. So they're saying it's Freddie's band. He's the main man, kind of thing. It's funny how they allowed that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Or Brian allowed that to happen.
I think the idea of it's Freddie's obviously like the the singer and the rest are just his backing singers. Just doing obviously you get them clicking their fingers and all that. And I think that's it's meant to be all show busy but it just.
I think it's quite funny though that fucking somebody decided to give Brian May fucking pecs and a six pack, but it's pretty fucking hilarious actually. Yep. John as well.
John as well.
John's heaving with a six pack as well, man. Fair
Even
enough.
Roger's like a fucking skelf, man. I mean, he never had any fucking muscle on him.
Roger looks like fucking Dolph Lundgren there with the hair and all that.
Aye,
he does a bit. Aye,
it looks like you just tear your fucking heart out and eat it.
He must break you.
I mean, I'm looking at this as well, man. Right, and I'm focusing on like the cartoon drawings of them. They're terrible, but the fucking A Kind of Magic logo is
I know, the
so
colours.
unbelievably shite.
Aye.
This would get rejected to be a kids fucking TV program. It'd be like, this is there's too much going on here, man. Fucking tone it down.
Even Tony Hart when I put it on his gallery, man.
Nah,
I
what the
don't
fuck, man?
Heartbeat. No, fucking Flatline. It wouldn't be called Heartbeat. Flatline. Check this piss out. Aye.
Yeah, it's a no for me, man.
Aye.
And I do think this. I know this is a silly thing to say, but because of this album cover sucking so hard, it actually affects the music on it in a weird way for me as well. Like,
Because you were right into the music before you saw it.
no, I don't mean that. But almost like, see if it had a more sensible album cover. I don't know. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like,
I know what you're saying. It might not. It might not have been as annoying. You know,
I hate the album cover so much, and then there's some of the worst songs that Queen never did on this one record. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like a marriage made in hell, really. But it's pish, man. Fuck it.
Aye. 1989, The Miracle. Now we obviously don't have much time for this album at all, but the album cover. So this is a Richard Gray, another design. I think they take the images, and there's a thing on YouTube. I think it's on the greatest Flicks 2 DVD as well. It's a wee kind of documentary about how they put this together, and essentially what it is just an early version of Photoshop. That's exactly how they did it, you know. So, Paul.
I'm trying to think what I felt when the album just came out. I don't think I hated it when it just came out at first. But then maybe it was after I started listening to the god awful music contained inside it that it started to grind on me a little bit. It's awful. It's terrible. I don't even. I mean, what are they trying to convey, that they're all together or something, or you know,
Probably
it's
something
kind
like
of
that,
on the nose and a bit desperate. I don't know. Nah, I can't eat. I would say our version was better, and there's only 3 of us, so there you go.
Aye.
Yeah, Mr. Joe.
It's quite funny because Freddie's the only person that gets both his own eyes in this image, innit? It's like everybody else only gets one of their eyes.
A wee bit of Brian in there, right enough. Aye, but
Aye, kinda. I suppose. Aye, you're probably right.
Roger's probably the only one that's not got his full eye. And,
Aye.
you know,
Kind of mutated. Aye.
kind of got a bit of John in there and a bit of Zane and then a bit of Freddie's.
Aye. But I mean, actually, the more I look at it, the more it kind of freaks me out, man. I don't like it. It's kind of fucking with me a little bit looking at it, man. Like, actually, if I saw this thing in the flesh, I would fucking shite my scants and run away crying. Kind of like the album.
So this is where John's right eye is. His right eye's here, but he's losing it. He's lost his fucking left eye. Fuck's sake, man.
John just can't keep both his eyes on any album cover, man. Like, pick an eye that you're losing here, John. I mean, I don't even know what I think about this, man. I'm looking at it, and all I can think of is if I ran into this fucking thing, I would be terrified. So that's probably about all I can say about it.
I'm the same. I don't actually know what I think about it. I don't think I hate it. I don't like it either.
I think your version's better, David, where you darkened it all and shit, man. That was cool.
I mean, that look evil.
It looked like a noise rock album.
But I think I respect them for trying something different. I'll give them that. They're trying something different. You know, it's a band photo, right? All right, we can just do it. Like the cover, I want it all. You know, because that's obviously the image that this was. You know, they took them all and they made it into this album cover. If it was just that, then it would have just been all right, okay. But this kind of makes you go, what the fuck? I mean, it makes you think, what the fuck's going on here? You know, it kind of starts to ask a few questions, you know. So from that point of view, I've got to give it a bit of credit because it's something different and something that, you know, confuses you a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I've got to give them a bit of credit, you know,
you've got to
because
give them some credit. At least they've done something that nobody else has done. Kind of thing.
They're trying to be. There's a bit of innovation here, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously these days, I mean, it's, you know, if you come out with that, somebody will be like, oh, you just knocked it on Photoshop, did you? You know, and maybe it wouldn't be striking these days. But I don't know. I still look at it now and think, it's still pretty bloody striking, you know. So, I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but it's not anything. I wouldn't. I'll put it this way: I wouldn't wear a t-shirt with this on it. You know.
What the fuck?
You know, because I don't think it's. But then again, maybe it's not meant to be visually pleasing. I don't know what the band's motive was in this one. Maybe it's not meant to be visually pleasing. Maybe it's meant to be confusing. Maybe it's meant to be, you know, fucked up in some way. I don't know.
I think see if they'd have called the album Queen The Mutant, it would have made sense.
Good title, man.
The Mutant. We're all having a mutant on us. Now you've got fucking 4 heads on one.
Aye, right. Is it making the cut then?
Is it? Fuck.
Oh.
Nah, it's not making the cut, is it? But no, listen, the album cover's better than the album, I would say. So.
Fucking right it is.
Yeah.
Aye.
And then we finish things up with Innuendo. So 1991, the last Queen album. So aye, this is them kind of going back. Yeah, you would agree with that. They're kind of channeling the 70s. Even, you know, we talk about that in some of the music on the album, and we talk about that in the imagery. You know,
absolutely.
here. I think that's trying to get back to that kind of grandiose stuff again. You know, in the 70s, and so these images were from someone called Granville, who was alive. Was it the 1800s? He was alive, was it? And all the images.
1847.
1847, right? So these, and again, as we said with some of the albums before, the sort of the vibe continues through the actual artwork and the album sleeves, and you know, the inner sleeves, and the, you know, the booklets and all that. You know, with these Granville images, and through all the singles that were released as well. You know, it was all apart from Headlong, I think it was, which was just a band image. But yeah, so I love these images. I think they're just fucked up and weird and excellent. But it's focusing on this one, of course, being the album cover. I just love it because it's back to the pomp again, and it's back to the you know we're going back to what we actually were at one point in time. This again, we talk about maybe the work's been a wee kind of statement of we're back. We're back to basics, and we're a basic rock band again. You know, we're not taking too many risks on this album, kind of thing, and that kind of thing. And I think this is the same. It's kind of like a statement of them saying that we are, you know, we're looking backwards here, and they're looking back because they're looking
totally,
towards the end. You know, it's kind of at the same time. You know, we talked about even at the start. You know, in the I'm going slightly mad video with you know, Brian dressed as a penguin in the first album cover, and then he appears in the video dressed the same way. So they definitely have got their eyes back on, you know, the formative years. Great image. Don't ask me what the hell's going on in this. I mean, the guy's juggling. I mean, there's lots of different earths on the ground.
It's got 2 titles. One's the Juggler of Universes, and then someone else has called it the Juggler of Planets.
All right,
cool, man.
The image, the original image, is in black and white, so Richard Gray colorized it, obviously. And
right,
also the banana, in the original isn't a banana; it's a Legion of Honor medal. So these medals that the French give out to.
I wonder why they changed that.
No idea. Don't know.
Maybe just because it looked a wee bit.
I think it was something like they were going for the more wacky kind of stuff. And it may have been a wee bit strange to have,
Maybe even the lyric, I feel I'm a banana tree and I'm going to
something like that. You know,
maybe it's a wee nod to it or something, I don't know.
Just to make it a wee bit more light-hearted or something.
Even though it's not a banana tree, it's a banana, but I don't know, I'm clutching at straws here.
Clutch, mate.
But it's cool. It's it's like some clown is in charge of keeping us
Everything.
all alive, you know.
And you've got the wee kind of, I don't know what the wee kind of Einstein looking dude is doing, if he's waving at him or he's going, oh, what the fuck are you doing? And, you know,
Aye.
Stop throwing planets at me, you cunt.
aye. Oh, that's interesting. But no, it's I love the artwork because again it's kind of abstract and you know and it sounds like they've taken a bit of time to think about it and just not do the usual basically.
Yeah.
You know, they were just more artistic again. You know, this period, this short period of time. You know, before Freddie died. You know, that was the you know the artistry was back, even down to you know like the Innuendo video, for example. You know, that's very artistic as well. You know, probably arguably the best video they done. You know, but yeah, no, this is great. Any other further thoughts?
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last album cover, to not have Queen on the cover was probably Jazz, and then obviously all the, then you've got like, The Game, Hot Space, then you've got the Works, Kind of Magic. Okay, some of them are animated versions of Queen. This is the first one, kind of going back to that 70s vibe again, but it isn't the band, it's an actual image, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is cool. And for some reason, the artwork ties in with the kind of somberness of this record. I don't know, because obviously, looking at the image, people wouldn't think somber, but I kind of do in a weird way. I don't know. It's still, especially the inside of it, a lot of the weird kind of, quirky drawings and stuff like that, it's kind of got a kind of, it's hard to actually put into words. When something's kind of, it looks childish, but it's kind of sinister as well. There's some sort of sinister weirdness to it. I kind of get that vibe. Maybe I'm just fucked up in the head. Well, there's no kind of fucked up in the head. I definitely am fucked up in the head. But
I think I know what you mean. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's the way they say nursery rhymes are kind of sinister and things
plus
like
there's
that,
the guy at the bottom. To me, he
Yeah.
always looks like he's in fear as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I always feel. It was like,
So there's that. So
What
there's,
the
and he's leaning towards shadow on the earth as well, which kind of gives me a darker sort of vibe as well. You know what I mean? But
He's about to get flattened by a giant banana, that's why.
could be worse. He could be flattened by the giant fucking miracle mutant, and that'd be fucking shite. But no, amazing album cover. I really like it, man. It was a smart move in them to go out in something classy as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is the way we all would like to remember how it ended with Queen. I think this is, you look at this album cover, you hear the album, which has got its flaws, absolutely, but
totally.
but
Man.
it's the way we want to remember Queen finishing.
It went full circle to a degree.
Yeah, definitely. So is this making the cut?
I think so.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think there's, and again, there's probably a lot of what we think about the album and how we felt around about this period that we're probably projecting onto this, but that's just
a cool image.
It's a very cool image, and I think what's making me want this to make the cut is because I've got all the other images in my head as well. The
inside
it's just
sleeve
it's
and
the whole
stuff, yeah.
concept that I just love. Around about this album, and even the image that of the band in the side, with they stretch it and make it all blue, obviously to try and hide some of Freddie's kind of frailties and stuff. But I love that image. I think it looks fucking amazing. I just love it. I just understated. They've all got the suits on, and they're just like, yeah, we're an aging rock band now, but we're going to do it with a bit of class this time. But yeah,
absolutely.
So yeah, I think this makes it cut. So that's all 14 studio albums. So the cut is Queen 2, A Night at the Opera, News of the World, and Innuendo. It's the 4 that have made the cut. We need to decide which is the best. Now, I'm going to say my piece first, if that's all right. Looking quickly through those 4, 100% A Night at the Opera falls out for me.
All right.
Don't know how you feel, but that'd be the first for me that would make that I would drop out of the 4.
Oh, you would drop out of it? Oh, right, okay, you would drop out of it.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the best.
I would. I keep saying making the cut, and then I'm saying I would cut, and so I'm using that phrase.
So,
but no, I would drop looking at the four, I would drop Night at the Opera up first.
Right. If I'm really honest, I would say Innuendo.
Innuendo for you.
Aye.
Oh,
I would go with Innuendo.
okay. Right, I've been overruled there. Right, so we've got Queen 2, A Night at the Opera, and News of the World. So what comes out next?
It's easy. A Night at the Opera, man.
Night at the Opera goes.
Aye.
Okay, drops out. Oh,
I would agree with that, yeah.
yeah,
You know.
so would I. I'd agree with that. Okay, that just leaves two absolute fucking heavyweights. Queen 2 and News of the World. So essentially what's dropping out?
Fuck,
What's
man.
winning? Well, we've got two left, so what's winning?
They're two totally different, amazing vibes. They're two, but ideally, aye.
So we're left with one photographic and one aye. Right, okay, I'm gonna say News of the World wins it. Because it's just just very simple. It's just a beautiful piece of artwork that just looks amazing. Queen 2, iconic, fucking all the things I said before. An amazing photograph and all that, but I don't know. I maybe appreciate. I don't know. I maybe appreciate like painting and stuff like that more than I
More than
appreciate
photography.
Aye. So even though photography is amazing, oh fuck. No, I'll go with News of the World.
News of the World. Okay,
Frank wins it for me.
Right.
Joe.
Right, this is extremely hard for me, right? I'm going to have to say Queen 2 wins it for me, man. As much as I absolutely fucking love Frank and I love the News of the World album cover, I think it's amazing. Queen 2 for me is just when I imagine what makes Queen in my mind is that image and that cover. It's just fucking iconic. It's evil as fuck. It's it's just everything that I love, man. It's just so dark and brooding in a way. So I've got to say Queen 2 wins it for me. But I mean, it's by a pubic hair. Do you know what I mean? And they're two completely different feels. So it's hard to.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Queen 2 as well. And it's very, very similar to Joe. You know, I just look at the image and I just love looking at the band in that period of time.
It's fucking perfect.
You know,
the music was perfect and everything, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
It's
whole
just
package. Yeah.
Yep. It's just probably it is the best image of the band, you know, probably ever, you know, and there's been many great images of Queen, but this is just encapsulates everything that the early Queen was about, you know.
Totally, man.
And it's just a stunning photograph, and I'm the same. I absolutely adore the cover on News of the World. It's
amazing.
It's just amazing, and you know. So I'm going to go Queen 2 though, because that's where I was swaying before Joe even spoke there, and odd enough Joe said all the same things I was thinking anyway. So yeah, sorry Paul.
I'm
I'm pretty sure you're happy to lose out to Queen 2 anyway. So.
There's no fucking losers here.
Might be the loser on the end, mate.
Only the loser on the end. That's it.
Aye.
Queen 2, the best album cover. I think we're happy
Absolutely.
with that. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because there's not that many bad Queen album covers, and I think some people think there's quite a lot of them, and there's not really. I mean, well, it's certainly not for us anyway. I mean, I think there's a
The only actual bad one is
A Kind of
Magic.
Yeah, yeah.
Which for a band,
Miracle's
for a,
pretty fucking rotten.
for a band that's brought out
it's-
14 albums, that's pretty good going.
Yeah.
Aye. Consider some of the fucking album covers, you know, for their peers and shit like that, and bands that were out at the same time, like really
Yeah.
hellishly bad. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Okay, so, well, listen, that was a wee bit more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I know I was a bit kind of negative at the start. I was a bit worried that, you know, maybe we would kind of struggle a wee bit just to kind of talk about pictures. But no, it's I've quite enjoyed that. I don't
enjoyed it. It was
know
good
if
fun.
anybody out there will enjoy it as much as we did, but hopefully you'll get something out of it.
Sweet.
All right, well, thanks for listening, and we will be back. We've been putting a few tweets out about or certainly one tweet about us coming close to the end and all that. Not necessarily close to the end, but we're aware that there's limitations to what we can actually do podcasts on now. We're getting close. We're closer to the end than we are at the start. Certainly, put it that way. And but what we want to do is put content out that's actually of decent quality. We don't want to get to the point where we're talking about Freddie's trousers and all that. It's because we're just not going to get down that route. We'd rather just call it a day. But please let us know if you think we should call it a day. Let us know. If it's getting to the point where you think we're scraping the barrel, let us know, because we'll just tell you to fuck off anyway and just
continue
do our own
doing
thing.
it.
Exactly. Start doing podcasts on Freddie's trousers.
Yeah, my favourite is the Game Tour, the red patent leather with the knee guards.
Aye, that's a good
that-
look, man.
yeah,
Brilliant.
Yeah, I like the trousers.
These trousers, man.
Maybe we will actually. Maybe
Maybe
we will actually.
Eddie's best get up, tour get up.
Aye. So, aye. We can do the bands, each of the individuals' bands' best individual get up, and then we just make an image of all the
Aye.
on stage. So we're total fucked up different styles, and
Aye.
Freddie in the 70s, fucking
Make a
1974
comparative
versus
image.
John with his fucking crew cut and stuff.
Aye, with the prison fatigues on and shit.
But anyway, right, we'll leave it there. So thanks for listening along, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.